let me tell you a story. So before recording this video, a few hours ago, I was walking with my father, just me and him, and we were walking outside in with the idea that I wanted to improve my mental health because I was feeling a little bit lonely because my dad always works, my mom is somewhat a little bit busy doing stuff, going out with her own friends. So I was feeling a bit lonely. I told my dad, let's have a walk, let's just discuss some stuff. And we were able to discuss these very interesting topics about he's so interested into science and I'm so interested about making videos and speaking to you. And when I did copywriting, I learned a lot of things, and we were talking and we had just this massive bonding experience with father-son, and my mental health just was fucking perfect. I didn't have any negative thoughts. I literally just was so present. And this is the importance of having a relationship with your family, with your parents, with your siblings, with your cousin, whatever. Because nowadays we don't have a tribe. We don't have people we can turn to. We don't have people to speak to. And family is very, very important. You might only right now as a young guy, you're a horny young guy, you only want pussy, you only want money, you only want status, you only want, that's what you really want as a man. But once you can actually improve your mental health and just have a close family with you, and really just improve your mental health with your family and have a good relationship with your family, your siblings, that is the single greatest thing you can do. And it will get you more pussy, it will get you more money in the future. So this is some weird thing you can just do, oh, mental health, yeah, whatever, I'm just a horny guy who wants money and status. No, this will actually get you more pussy, more money in the future. So listen out, because improving your relationship with your parents, with your siblings is very, very important. So how do you actually improve your relationship with your parents? The thing great, because so many young guys have this shallow, where they just play video games, they only interact with their own friends, and they ignore their family, ignore their parents. Because how often I've literally seen guys, because I remember this story where I was literally on my phone and my parents were trying to talk to me, but I was just looking at my phone, I was pretending I was listening to my mom, but I really wasn't. I was just scrolling on my phone. And now that I'm able to just speak to my family, it's way more fulfilling, it's way more happier, it's way more just improves my mental health. So to improve your relationship, you just gotta be more present around them. You can't be just on your phone scrolling or just thinking about, I'm gonna do this in my business, Matthew told me to implement this advice and I'm gonna do this later. No, be present with your family and be loving with them. Don't be overthinking about what are you gonna do later. You need to literally have some time to just speak to them like a normal human being. And something that's gonna help you with this is literally just breathing. Because when you breathe, you become more conscious. Do this practice with me. Literally, throughout this whole video, throughout your whole day, you probably have not breathed a single time, properly, to the point where your diaphragm literally expands. So do this practice with me. Take a deep breath right now. If you really did that with me, you're going to feel that you just feel so much more present in the now. And when you do that, you can speak to your parents in such a more loving way. And this is how you improve your relationship with your parents and overall just improve your mental health. And what I've been doing lately was that I've been hugging my parents and my family more often. Because really think about it, when was the last time you really hugged your mom and hugged your brother or your sister with true authenticity, you actually loved them? Probably years and years ago. You probably don't even remember at that point how long ago it was when your parents actually hugged you as a little kid. Imagine how happy you got when your parents literally hugged you as a kid, when you knew they literally cared about you. Because when you're little, the only thing you really care about, the only thing your brain only cares about is safety and your parents. And when you know your parents love you, when they literally hug you, that's literally telling your brain that you're safe, you're here. You don't need porn, you don't need video games, you're safe. You don't need bad habits to bring you that same comfort. You don't need no random pussy just to bring you that same love that you didn't have as a child. So start hugging your parents and your brother and your sister just more often. It's gonna feel a little bit awkward. It's gonna feel like you don't really want to do it. It's gonna feel like almost this chore, but just have it with the intention that, yeah, sure, your mom might like it, your siblings might think it's weird, your dad, yeah, he might enjoy it, but if they enjoy it, they will benefit from it. Human touch is very, very important, and we don't focus on human touch these days. We always just reserved ourselves. We don't really touch each other. We're literally just afraid of touching each other because sexual harassment and consent. But touching is very important. If you really think about it, to our primal caveman ancestors, they were touching each other. They were literally having fun, shaking each other's hand, fist bumping, literally fighting with other men, hugging their parents, literally having sex. Not with their parents, with other women, but like, you get the idea. So you need to start hugging your parents more, and you do that by just, it's gonna feel awkward, it's gonna feel like a chore, but just keep this in mind that you're doing this for love, to improve your mental health. Because because I've been hugging my parents usually almost like a chore now. Like, I've been kind of giving them these shallow hugs where I tell them, yeah, goodbye, I see you tomorrow, I'm gonna go to bed now. I've been kind of hugging them shallowly. You want to really hug them with the intention that you want to that you love them. Literally say to yourself or tell them, I love you, or I love you in your own head. And that's gonna bring so much more meaning to your life, and you're just gonna build such a great relationship with your parents. Another tip I'm gonna give you is, you need to start having more of the deep conversations with your parents. Like, really ask them, really talk about them, like what you've learned on self-improvement, and literally talk about their lives and how you can help them. Because there is something that you know right now about self-improvement. Let's say it's about girls, or about video games, or about porn, or what. Okay, maybe you probably won't speak about porn with your parents, but like, there's something that you can tell your parents. For example, for me, it's always telling them that about purpose, that there is something that we as men are meant, that we like to do, that is something that we enjoy doing, but nowadays we sacrifice it just to get money, because there's so many men, and you probably are in this category where you only chase money, you only want money, you only want material success, you only want the fancy car, the fancy watch, the E-man, the whatever, and you don't really think about like the purpose. About, are you actually enjoying the work you do? Is it something that you would literally wake up for? Is it something that if you already had infinite money, would you actually continue doing it? Because there's so many younger, because you might not even be able to answer that question, where you really think about it. What business model are you trying out? Agency, dropshipping, copywriting. There's like shitty businesses that, is it something that you will really just spend all your life doing? Probably not. So why do you keep doing it? Just I know it's just for money, but why not do something you actually enjoy for money? Because when you do actually something you enjoy, then you're gonna want to keep doing it. While other men do, let's say, for example, for me, it's speaking, teaching concepts. I love just speaking and teaching concepts to young guys who were just like me, because I feel like I have the answers to give you, to actually just like educate you on what I've learned and how to actually improve your life. And for you, let's say it might be drawing. If you literally have that, while other men are just doing, let's say, speaking, making a YouTube channel just for the money. I really want, take him on. Oh, Hamza told me to start a YouTube channel. And then all the other men are gonna be doing it just for the money, while you're doing it for a purpose, for a reason, for a mission, almost like you want to wake up for it. You're doing it for fun. And when you're doing something for fun, then no one can compete against you. Because you literally would like to spend all your day just talking, speaking, explaining concepts. For me, I noticed that I just love explaining concepts to my parents. And this is what you can do. Just start having more deep questions with your parents. Like, really ask them, what was something you enjoyed doing when you were little? What was something that you did? And that was probably your purpose. Because I realized that you've probably already found your purpose, but the layers that school has put into you, your own parents to get good grades in school, all these like desires of quitting porn, then it's attracting girls, building muscle. There's so many like desires on top of your core masculine desire that you were meant to, that you actually feel fulfilled with doing. So really just ask your parents more deep questions about their childhood. This is a really, really good question. You can just ask your parents about, how was their childhood? What did they do when they were your age? What did they do with their free time? Because now, I used to play video games, but now I fixed up my mental health, so I don't play video games anymore. What did you used to do? Because I can't imagine life without technology. And they will tell you, and they will want to speak to you, because you need to understand this concept that people like speaking about themselves. They just love speaking about themselves. You probably notice this, where you literally are speaking to one of your family members or someone. You're speaking to them, and you're almost not listening to them when they speak about their own problems. But when you speak about your own problems, you just can't help but just speak. So really start a more deep conversation about their childhood, what they did, really anything. And that's gonna improve your relationship with them, your mental health. And you can like set a little bit of time just for these like conversations. Like maybe you tell them, maybe on Monday I'm gonna have one, or maybe on Tuesday I'm gonna have another one. And you don't even have to do it. Maybe you see your mom in cooking and you just ask her, oh, what did you do in your childhood? Because what do you do when you usually get home? You probably talk to your mom. Yeah, you have this shallow conversation about, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go out later, and then she's probably like, oh, why are you going out later again? And when you have these deeper conversations, there's just more love within you guys. And nowadays we don't have that same feeling of love, of relationship, of tribe, of the tribe. Imagine how important a tribe was back in the primal, just how important a tribe, like brothers, family was back then. Because with family, with nature, literally with, I believe, with literally family, nature, and that's it. With those two things, you can literally fix up all your bad habits. Because those are the two most important components that come with mental health. Your family and your and nature. Because that's all we did in the prime ages when we were cavemen. When your ancestors, what did they do all day? They spent all the time in nature, and they also spent all their time with family. And that's how we fix our mental health. We're literally playing this game where we're trying to just we're just playing video games, quitting porn, all alone. Our ancestors were happy, were energetic, were masculine when they were outside in nature with family. You see how important this concept gets? And one last tip I want to give you is, you want to start going out to nature to walks more with your parents, because having a conversation, hugging them is very, very good. These are like, think about it in a video game where every time you hug your parents, you hug your sibling, it's almost like 10 XP points to your mental health and to their own mental health. Because when you hug them, they might not admit it, but they actually kind of do want to get hugged. They kind of need the hug, because they've also been in the same life where they've just been all alone. They haven't really been connecting with family as much, and they might not say it, but they actually need it. They need a hug from you. So you, while hugging and having like more deep conversations, like hugging them can give you like 10 XP. Think about this in a game where hugging gives you 10 XP, and then talking to them in a more deep, like asking them what they did in their childhood to your parents, that's gonna be like 50 XP points. But I believe what the greatest thing will be is when you go out to nature, to the park with your family. That is going to be so powerful. That's going to be like, I would say, 100, 1,000 XP points in your family relationship building. Because when you go into nature, you've probably gone out to nature with your parents when you were little, where you had so much fun, where you were running around with your brother, with your sibling, and where your parents were talking, they were telling you about their childhood. And we don't have that in the modern day. We're all just playing video games. And when you go out to nature with your parents, you can't help but have these more deep conversations within nature. Because if you've been watching my channel, if you've been on self-improvement, you know the importance of nature and how it affects us as men and how it affects us as humans in general, not just men. And when you go into nature, you can't help but just feel more present, and they will do it too. Your parents will literally feel more present. You're going to start having more deep conversations. You're going to have more fun. And you want to go into nature and actually like have conversations. You don't want to just go out shallowly with your phone. And very important when you do this, tell your parents and yourself to not take your phone. If you take your phone, it's pointless, because you're gonna end up feeling like there's nothing to talk about. Oh, I might as well just check my phone, and then you end up just scrolling away, and your parents do the same. They just check their messages, and there's no point in doing the walk. So you really want to go outside without your phone, because if you do, then you're gonna get distracted, you're gonna do other stuff, and that's not the point of walking. You literally want to be present, because you know that when you're present, that's a peak human experience where you have no thoughts in your mind, where you're just in a flow, where you have no, because a Greek philosopher said that, I forgot his name honestly, but he said that true happiness is when you're not afraid of the future, or you're not thinking about the past. Oh my gosh, my voice cracked. That is true happiness, when you're present, where you have no thoughts in your mind. And when you're out with nature, speaking with your parents, that's when you achieve those really deep conversations. That's when you build really big relationship with your parents, with your family. So it's really important you don't take your phone, because it's going to distract them. It's going to distract you. And how do you actually like walk with your parents? I know you literally just want to find a park, or If you already know your nearest park, just go to that park. Or just have the idea that you just tell your parents literally tomorrow or on Saturday or Sunday when they're not in work. Just tell them, oh, let's go out for a walk because we haven't gone out in a walk for a long time. Let's see how fun it is. And when you go out in a walk with them, you just walk around, you go around the city, you go around probably not the center, go into like the more quiet areas where there's not much cars, it's not like the center where it's like more quiet. And you just can't help but build a relationship by speaking, by having these deep conversations with them, going out to nature, talking about, because what do you actually talk about when you're actually out with your parents? What you really want to talk about is what you've been learning, how their life was being, how your parents, ask your parents, like, what did you do in your childhood? Or how did it feel to not have video games? Or how did it, or this is a really good question to ask your parents. If you've been on self-improvement for a while, then you can ask, how do I look different to you from this person who used to play video games, fap all the time, to now that I'm more disciplined, I'm improving my mental health, I'm been going to gym. What is the difference, and how do you see me now? That's what you really want to ask your parents. Like, like deep questions. That's how you build good relationships. That's how you really improve your mental health, because you need to understand that how nature and family is the only thing you need for mental health. And mental health will literally cure every single one of your bad habits, because all your bad habits, porn, junk food, video games, they're all symptoms of poor mental health. Because the problem with those habits is that we're creatures of habits. We just like to do habits. So let's say, that's why I told you to not just hug your parents and do it in an AFK way. Because if you've been hugging your parents for a while now, then you're gonna kind of lose the magic in it, and you're just gonna hug them just as a habit. But you want to really hug your parents with just the intention that you love them. Say to yourself that you love them. Say something to yourself that's really just gonna bring the magic back in hugging them. Because when you first hug your parents, it's something just magical. You haven't done it in such a long time. It just feels so great. But after a while, you're gonna make it a habit, and then you're not gonna think of it in a way you're gonna help your mental health. So you really just want to always think of this in a loving way. So the problem with all the bad habits is that they all instant gratification activities. They all make you feel good now, but they make your life worse overall. And the cycle good. You feel good now, you watch porn, you edge, you're literally on the peak, you feel like you're about to bust, and you end up busting. And now you feel tired, you feel limp, you feel lethargic, you don't feel like doing anything as a man, and now your life is like down here when it used to be down here before you watch porn. And then since you feel like shit after watching porn, you're like, oh, let me just play some video games, and then your life gets worse. And then you're like, oh, let me just eat some junk food, and then your life gets worse. Gets worse. And this is what instant gratification has done to you. It's literally destroyed your dopamine. And same with social media. It's made you so hyper new information on your phone, until the point where you just don't find happiness in life. And simple things like improving the relationship with your parents is so crucial in this modern day where we don't have tribes, we don't have relationships. So I really hope you benefited from this video, and I really hope you start hugging your parents more. I really hope you start having these conversations, and you start walking with your parents more, because this is what I've implemented into my life to improve the relationship with my parents. And my relationship with my parents have improved so drastically compared to when I used to just play video games. They literally would ask me, oh, do you want to go to your friends our friend's house? And I always said like, no, I want to play I said no thank you. But what I really wanted to do was just play video games and fap and just play with my friends. Because you probably experience this where your parents tell you, oh, let's go out to do this, but then you're like, no, no, you don't want to go out, but you just want to play video games and watching porn probably. So I've been improving my relationship with my parents, and it's really helped me, because the story that I told you the beginning of this video, where I was speaking with my dad about these interesting topics that he's been learning about, that I've been learning about, you can't help but just be in a flow state and improve your mental health so drastically that you don't need porn, you don't need junk food, you don't need any of the bad habits. Because right now, as I'm speaking these words to you, I don't want to fap. I literally, when you fix your mental health to the point where literally you know that doing a bad habit will literally make you less happy in the future, that's when you actually hit like what I believe is the a milestone in self-improvement, when you literally improve your mental health so well that your literal dopamine is here, or the dopamine you get from porn is not even as good, or video games or junk food is not as good as the dopamine you have from just your relationship with your parents, your just everyday life. So I really hope you benefited from this video, since it's really, really important to improve your mental health as a young guy, and that you need to understand that all your bad habits come from poor mental health. And building a relationship with your parents is the single most powerful way to literally get a 200 times boost to your mental health. So do one of these practices that I told you, like hug your parents. Literally, as an actionable step, after you finish this video, literally just hug your parents. If they're not in the house, literally just maybe as soon as they get back, just hug your parents. It's gonna feel weird, but they need it. You need it. Do it. Start walking. Start asking them a question. Do this, and you're gonna see how your life really, really improves. So I really hope you benefit from this video, and I'll see you tomorrow.